This is the final for computer science, where I'm going to go over basically an assembly line that I made on a breadboard. So how it's meant to work is that you're meant to have two different lines worth of inputs. So one of them, it can be a button, and then the other one is going to be an ultrasonic sensor. Once one of those are hit, then a motor is going to go off either for 2 seconds or for 4 rotations to then say that a part is made and completed. After that, it gets counted, and then it goes to the last part, which is C, conveyor belt C. And once you have parts A and B, you then can go down to your ending, which is sending out to a truck in production. So let's go over the code for the lab. So first things first, we have our inputs, which a lot of them are LEDs, because how I have it is that we have 3 LEDs to say when one production is done. So we have 9 LEDs. Next, we go down to our button, which is 2 for one of our inputs for A. We have B for input, which is our ultrasonic sensor, trigger pin, and echo pin. We then go down to our photocell, which gets picked up by the last LED of C to say you're good to go out, and then motor pin 3. How I put it is that we have minced and Altoid tins, which is going to be what we're producing. So we then go into all of our inputs and outputs. All of our LEDs are going to be outputs, so we're going to send electricity to them. Our button is an input, ultrasonic sensor output, and then our echo for the ultrasonic sensor is an input. The photocell is an input, and then for a motor pin, that's also an output. Because we're working with a serial pin to say when things are done and what things are happening, we have a 9600 to say when that's our serial code. That's how we're going to communicate. And when you first start up the program, it has assembly line system initialized to say that we are now starting. We then go to our first void loop, which is our button, which is going to be on high, and then parts complete. Serial print, button pressed, starting mints. This handles part A. B, which is our ultrasonic sensor, measure distance, and then says we see tin. Okay, we're good. And then for C, serial print, hand of parts, false, false, to say, okay, there's nothing here, don't go. Then when it becomes true, you're allowed to go. Next, we go to how everything works. So we have our sequence of LEDs. So when it's just started, when it's about to be done, and then when it's done for last one. When it's done, our motor runs for 2 seconds, which equals mints, which is true. Then mints complete, total mints count, will go up for 1 each time the button is pressed. For B, we have the same thing, except the motor pulses 5 times for 500 milliseconds, and it says Altoid tin complete. That's really the only difference. And then for C, again, it's very similar, same LED pattern, but motor runs for 4,000 seconds, and then it says package complete. Let's then go down to our LEDs and how they're set. So we have digital write LED 1, delay for 1,000 milliseconds, and then digital write LED low. It's just simple stuff to make our sequence happen, and then when one sequence is done, our LED sequence is complete. Our motor is our next part, which really is just kind of saying, is really just meant for our serial print, just to kind of go throughout the program. So we have our motor running, our duration, for how long, for what pin it is, motor pin is high because it's on, and then delayed duration for however long we have it for each one. Our pulsing motor, about the same thing. It just says this is how much we're pulsing. We're going to add motor pulsing, or pulse an I plus 1 each time until we get to our 5. Our last couple things is our ultrasonic sensor, which just kind of tells us how far or long something is away from things. And then it gives us our distance in cm. So I'm going to turn this on. And then we're going to go to our COM5, which is now connected to this. So we should now see our serial print. Yeah. And so we already have our Altoids tin right here. So I picked it up, and because the part is already made, it's going to go to it. And then, oh yes, this. So now our motor is on. So button was pressed. And then for last thing, our photocell was picked up. It's done. We're sending out the product. Press your button. Lights go on. Sees your Altoid tin. You're good to go. And then for last process, you're done.